everyone, it's Nick from the Botch Pit, and I'm joined here with fellow Botch Pit member Jura. Jura!
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jura with the Botch Pit coming from you from the Hall of Brawl.
How's everything been, Jura? How's life been?
I drove a total of 26 hours this weekend. As you can see by my glorious extended stay abode.
Yeah, we both been out like crazy.
Chris was going to join us tonight, but he actually just got his Gundam piloting license. This was in our group chat. So he's not going to be here. He's learning how to drive the Zaku. Chris.
But tonight, we're going to be talking about merits as it pertains to the Chronicles of Darkness, in not only the core book, but the entire line. So last time we met, we talked about character creation. Edward! Mother, please step on me with the good smelling shoes! Oh my god, where do I go from there? And one of the core components of character creation is merits. Now,
Merits.
Jura, merits.
What? Merits.
How would you define them? Just as a review from last time.
Wow, man, if I actually was sober last time, this would be easier. But so merits are something that help define the character further by identifying actions and subsets of actions that they use that personify their personality. To put it simple, it's kind of like saying class specialization without having an actual class to deal with it. These are things that you take at the beginning of character creation. Nick, I bumped my mic 3 times. I hope you hear this. They're things that they take at character creation that allow your character to further specify. I think the example that we used last time was the difference between having the ability to brawl and knowing some sort of kung fu. Merits allow you to brawl better, use your fists better, and eventually become a kung fu Jedi Knight or whatever. I don't take kung fu. I'm huge. I'm 6'5" and 320 pounds. I can barely pick up like my shoes. So kung fu's not for me.
Well, in front of me I have the actual Chronicles of Darkness core book again.
Lucky.
Yeah. And today
you.
we're going to be exploring not only this one, but we'll take stuff from here as well as some other books today. But merits, as Jura said, they further refine the character without saying a certain class that they're associated with. And there are positives and negatives associated with something like that. But one of the other core components too, with merits, is that what we'll be talking about today is when it comes to merits, the way they're classified in the book, they're under a whole bunch of different classifications. Won't go into each one. But what happens is with merits, they have, you know, the name of the merit and then its ability that it unlocks. And when it comes to that, the ones in the book, when it comes to the name of them, that can all be changed to suit the character. For example, what Jura was talking about, was it Kung Fu? Was that what you said?
Yeah.
Was that
You don't ever listen to me.
I listen to you all the time.
You're a fucking liar.
Was it Kung Fu?
Yeah. You suck.
No, I don't. Is that name could be renamed to something else. And renaming merits is one of like the core fundamental aspects of merits in order to make it more in tune with your character. When it comes to purchasing merits can come in different dot allotments. Now, what dots are basically points that you can put into these specific merits in order to get better and better goals. Some merits have just a singular dot, some have 2, some have adjustable ones where it can go 2, 3, and then 4, and some are, you know, above and beyond. You can have a mix of everything in between them. And then in order to purchase that, so say if you buy a merit that has 2 dots and you want to get the 3rd dot allotment, all you need to do is spend 1 in merits in order to get that 3rd dot, that additional point. And then when it comes to the Sanctity of Merits, that's a term they use in the book. What happens there is that, say if you want to cash in those merit dots in order to use for something else. So lore-wise, say you had something that has changed on your character. For example, a location such as a safe house or a safe place is the actual merit in the book. And you no longer have that. Pending storyteller approval, what can happen is you can cash those in or use those 2 dots and merits for something else. And that also allows for the story to ebb and flow a lot more than to be like, okay, well, you bought this and now you're stuck with it forever. And when it comes to the experience allotment for merits in order to get a point in it, Jura.
What?
It's the experience allotment in order to spend in using a dot for merits is 1 experience per dot.
Yes.
Yes. So when it comes to the actual breakdown of the classifications of merits, we have physical merits, we have mental merits, we have social merits, we have supernatural merits, and merit styles. Jura, would you like to begin with the physical merits?
Yeah. So physical merits are pretty simple. They're merits that your character will use in the role-playing experience. And it's important to note that when I say role-playing, there's a difference. There's ROLL and ROLE. Physical merits, 9 times out of 10, are ROLL. Player, hyphenation, extraplanar additions. So when somebody has something that is a physical merit, such as, let's say, brute force, from Promethean the Created, which I, for no reason at all, absolutely love. Brute force allows you to be stronger when you embrace your torment. And for those of you that don't know what torment is, go read Promethean. You're an idiot for not doing it. It allows you to be stronger, physically stronger, so it makes it easier to overpower. But when you're looking at something like, let's say, the Chronicles of Darkness, the blue book. Is it just Chronicles of Darkness? I keep calling it the blue book.
Yeah,
called it the blue book for like
book.
20 years.
Chronicles of Darkness core book. Yep.
The core book. So the core book has quite a few examples for the physical side of things. I'm not saying that I don't enjoy physical merits, because I mean, like, it's really good to have something like ambidextrous, which is on page 47 of the Chronicles of Darkness book, core book. It's like, it allows you to ignore offhand penalties and stuff like that, or like even Iron Skin. Iron Skin's probably like one of my favorite ones, and you just add general armor dots equal to the amount of Iron Skin dots you have. Has some prerequisites, but it's still pretty cool.
Prerequisites. Why don't we comment on that? What is a prereq when it comes to merits? We forgot to mention that.
I don't speak English. So a prerequisite is something that has to be done in your attributes or your skills lines in order to purchase a merit. So for example, if you need like automotive genius, you need a craft of at least 3, a drive of 1, and a science of 1, because they're cumulative knowledge precursors that allow you to have this specific ability, this specific merit to you. I gotta say, like, one of the biggest bullshit ones for me has always been double jointed. Because like, I think double jointed, double jointed, you have to have like 3 in dexterity. Like, bro, some people are just born that way. You give me that, I'm so dexterous that I can put my head behind my ass. Like, no, dude, nothing happened. You fell.
And speaking along those lines too is one, there's a whole bunch of bullshit merits, and we'll save that for later. Like, look at professional training and stuff like that, that get like ripped out of, like, people are like, we're not playing with these. And that's also something.
Sorry.
Make sure your storytellers. Yeah, this is a whole other tangent. Make sure your storytellers are okay with the merits that you pick, and don't get mad if they're like, I don't like that in that game. It's one of those things where just be adjustable. But also, what you said along with that too, Jura, is that people are born that way. Take that into account when you're picking these merits. Certain merits also are like, you have to take this at character creation, and you can't take this once the game has begun, such as what you said, the double jointed, because you don't just get double joints instantly. You know what I mean? So it's one of those ones where you have to, if that's what you want to do, plan for that in the beginning, but also don't break your character to take a merit if it doesn't fit.
You're on the topic of something that you just said. I need to broach this because it vehemently it makes me pretty pissed. So if you're watching this right now, okay, and you're like, Jura, you need to be adaptable as a storyteller. You need to be God's gift to improv, and you have to be handsome. I know, Timmy. I myself am all of those things. You might not be any of those things, and that's okay. This isn't a master level storytellers thing. You could buy that on Patreon for $2,000 a second. I will teach it to you. But the important thing to note is that these are made, these videos, Botch Labs is made to try and bring everyone together and build better worlds. That's the
Building
whole
better worlds.
Building better worlds. What's important is that we are in no way, shape, or form trying to tell you that this is the penultimate way that you need to do this. You need to be that storyteller that knows exactly what they want to do. You need to weed out the bad players. Fuck all the other people that don't know how to play with cool merits. I'm not saying that, guys. It is important to be fluid and have good improv. It is important to be the guy that has a answer for everything. But if you're not comfortable with a certain merit being in your game, there's nothing wrong with telling them, hey man, I would rather you not have that merit of the game. Somebody posted a comment on our last video. They're like, I find us to be very shallow and you're not a good storyteller if you can't, change and adapt to your players. This person does not tell stories. This person does not run games. And if they do, they're not very long. I promise you that. I'm just saying, this is for everybody to become a better storyteller. And the one thing I can tell you, after 22 years of being a storyteller, of running these games, of having my dad beat stuff into my brain about what works and what doesn't, it's important to note that it's okay as a storyteller to have limitations. Limitations keep players engaged. Would you rather have a sandbox bereft of any tools, but you can do anything you want to? Or would you rather have a guided experience through a sandbox full of awesome set pieces? I personally wouldn't want to be a sandbox because sand gets in everything, including your ass crack. But a guided experience to start off with until you get better, until you're more comfortable with being a storyteller, is something that you ought to strive to have. Because entertainment, joy, and escapism is why we do this. So if you're that guy who thinks, being an adaptive storyteller is, tell me how many people you have at your games. Comment below. I'd love to hear it. Anyway, go back, Nick. Go, do your thing.
I too hate sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere.
I had to clean out my prison pouch so long.
Okay. So physical merits, we did that. Mental merits. Mental merits are the ability it's in the name, as everything is, intellectually driven abilities, such as language, being multilingual, the ability to investigate things further and critically think your way through situations with like investigative aid and stuff like that. You also have, when it comes to it too, the ability to draw on, I'm not sure if it's in this book or it might be in Hurt Locker. We have a bunch of books here. We also have abilities such as library that allows you to remember.
You have a cache of information relating to a particular skill. Add your dots in library to the relevant extended skill roll. Chris would know that.
Where is he?
He's learning how to be
Tell me!
He's piloting the Evangelion or whatever, the Garen Logan. Fuck, just name an anime where someone has a mech and Chris is there.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, but like it's like Obi-Wan that's like not really invested in the Force. Like regular one's like, hello there. Chris is like, hey.
No, he's actually Obi-Wan.
No, he hates me. I was like, hey Chris, I love you. And he's like, fuck you, Jura.
He did not say that.
He did, and then he called me bad names. Love you, buddy.
He's like, so uncivilized. But yeah, that's mental merits. Social merits. I know social are your favorite, Jura. We had a conversation about this the other day.
You're a liar.
No. No, I am not.
Yeah, social merits are pretty cool. They're dope. I like them. Was I supposed to say more on that?
Yeah.
Social merits are the merits that help a person seamlessly and silver-tonguedly manipulate their way through the social engineering monikers of the Chronicles of Darkness. I hate that this works so well, but if you've watched Vox Machina, and you probably fucking have, because let's face it, you're a nerd like I'm a nerd, right? The Bard is the quintessential social merit. Scanlan Shorthall, quintessential social merit user. With social merits, you can do some pretty cool bullshit. Empath is like my personal favorite, but I'll tell you why later, because there's some deranged stuff in Promethean the Created. I absolutely love it. But like things like Peacemaker, where you spend willpower to attempt to negotiate things in a non-violent way. Dude, non-violence is such a big skill in this game, but like it's rarely ever highlighted. People are just like, yeah, I turned into a blood talon, Karanos form, and I punched my taxi driver in the face for not listening. And that exacerbated storyteller's just like, okay, whatever. He's dead. What happens now? Like, you're just like, fuck. But, you know, that one's a good one of mine, too. I think... What was it? I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, Spin Doctor. Dude, Spin Doctor is such bullshit. Do you know about Spin Doctor?
Spin Doctor. I want to say I've never used it myself, because I have a favorite social merit that will come up later.
We'll get to it. Your opinion is important. Mine's more important. So Spin Doctor is Manipulation 3, Subterfuge 2. It's Chronicles of Darkness on page 54. So you use Tainted Clues. So Tainted Clues inflict an additional -1 penalty instead of consuming any successes. Like, fuck. That is a bullshit merit, and I love it. Like, that's on the good side of bullshit merits. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. I get so hyped up about this stuff.
Well, the next section, supernatural merits. These are my favorite. But supernatural merits
are from the TV show.
You want to make sure that everyone is okay with you taking them. This is one of the ones, especially if you're just using the core book and you're making your character, run them by your storyteller. Personally, for me, I love them. I would always let my players use them. But the thing is there's been games I've been in where they're like, no, you can't take that. No, you can't take that. And the reason
Chris's
is
games?
Maybe. No, I'm kidding. He lets me take pretty much whatever I want because he knows I'm not going to bullshit and break everything.
You play that one time 13 years ago.
It always increases by like double. We talk about the last time we played. But no, so with supernatural merits, these are, you're still human, but you're allowed to elevate a little bit up, such as things as biokinesis, telekinesis. A lot of the psychic merits are put into this book, especially if you've seen the Second Sight video we've done. A lot of those, Second Sight specifically with the merits, they didn't really test it out too much. That's a completely different place to go down, but a lot of those merits you can find in here if you're interested in pulling those type of characters out. And so what you also have is, well, I'll talk about it a little bit, medium, which is one of my favorite merits in this entire book. But yeah, and then the final one, Jura, is fighting merits or fighting styles. So that's a kind of...
Yeah, it's kind of just physical, but more dangerous. It's like a further refinement of a physical merit that's like brought into a bigger specialization. For example, Kung Fu, or as I would rename it, the Path of the Lin Kuei, because Scorpion. Actually, he was the Shirai Ryu. I'm an idiot. If you're a Scorpion fan, I apologize. If you're a Sub-Zero fan, a belt in the closet is somewhere close by you, I promise.
And when they say the term style next to the merits, Jura,
it's not S-T-Y-L-E. It's S-H-T-Y-L-E. Style.
Style. What does that mean to people who have no idea?
Like, you're being serious right now.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Oh.
I'm being dead ass serious because that's a question. Like, if you look right here with an unarmed defense.
Yeah, we can all see that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm showing it into the camera itself.
Oh, got you.
So it's unarmed defense 1 to 5 dots, semicolon style. What does that style mean for people that don't know?
A set of declarative pre-fight conditions that have to be met. So when you're going to fight and you say, I'm boxing is my style, I'm going to be invoking. You are boxing, you can use boxing moves. You can't be like, boxing, snake palm, kung fu, jiu-jitsu, lightsaber. Like, make it make sense. And if you're sitting out there and you're on your couch right now and you're like, but Jura, I can use boxing, kung fu, Jedi mind trick, yo-yo, fucking defense move. No, you can't. No, you can't. If you ever were in a fight, you wouldn't be so keen on getting into another one. Get off your couch, go fight someone. Pick a fight with someone right now and let me know. Comment below. How did it turn out?
Yo Hakusho this.
Dude, I was watching 90 Day Fiance. Why? Because I'm a sociopath. And this girl was like, my ideal man is an Asian man with orange hair and has a 9-tailed demon fox in him. And I was like, well, talk about unrealistic beauty standards for men. I only have an 8-tailed fox in me, guys. Fuck. I'll never find
Get the
true
full
love.
9 tails.
Yeah. Everybody wants a 9-tailed demon in them until they get a 9-tailed demon in them. And then they're like, it's 1 tail too many. I hate my life. Everything is trash.
Every day it progressively gets worse.
Yeah, every day I just hate myself.
Awesome. So that was the, again, overview of merits, their classifications. And what I'd like to do now, instead of going in between every single merit and literally listing them off, our top 5 favorite merits from not just the core book, but the entire line that demonstrates the abilities of what we were talking about, how that merit's supposed to define that character a little bit further, but gives them an edge in certain situations. Would you like me to start, Jura, on this one?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think you should go first.
So, one of my favorite merits in the entire line is actually a social merit. And it's a social merit in the Blue Book. It also appears in other books, too. When it comes to merits, you might notice that in the beginning of things such as Changing the Lost and Werewolf the Forsaken, they've taken some of these merits and placed it into those books. So if you're familiar with them from there, they're pretty much the exact same thing.
No. You're not getting off that easy. No.
They selectively chose it and to make it easier for them.
Lazy.
Yes.
You lazy. I see you and you're lazy.
Yeah, it is pretty lazy.
You paid $50 for this book. They reused 1/10 of it. That's like $5.86 worth of reused material. Okay? I want my $5.86 back. Times 10. It's $50. That's a copy of D&D 3.5 I could have bought. And thrown away. Go ahead.
All right. So one of my favorite social merits is one that I've used in even games Jura has run. And it's a 4-dot merit called True Friend. Now, so True Friend, why I love it. I'll read the effect of what True Friend has, but you'll see exactly why, like, this can aggravate a lot of people if you don't do it the right way. So, effect. Your character has a true friend. While that friend may have specific functions covered by other merits, such as allies, contacts, retainer, mentor, etc., True Friend represents a deeper, truly trusting relationship that cannot be breached. Unless your character does something egregious to cause it, her true friend will not betray her. Additionally, this is my favorite part, the storyteller cannot kill their true friend as part of a plot without your express permission. Any rolls to influence a true friend against your character suffer a 5-die penalty. In addition, once per story, your character can regain 1 spent willpower by having a meaningful interaction with their true friend. So, all the true friends I've introduced, I try to make them more endearing than the original characters so that it never has to, like, come up that they might have to die. And even the ones that are dead. So I've made, like, true friends that are, like, ghosts. So, like, even if they tried to kill them, it would have to be, like, through something, like, they're already dead. And it's just an ability that I really like. And it's really entertaining to see both Chris and Jura deal with both of those, my secondary characters in addition to my primary characters.
David Boowie.
David Boowie. I was about to ask you if you remembered him. So David Boowie is a true friend of a Promethean, an Ulgan Promethean named Cassio. And David Boowie is literally a bedsheet ghost. Like, that's his entire thing. And it just came up as a spur of the moment. When was that game that ran him, Jura? He's been in a couple different ones.
Like 2 Octobers ago?
Yeah, it's been a while. But, like, David Boowie, whenever he comes on screen, everyone's like, I both love and hate this character so much. But True Friend, again, it provides an additional layer to your character that it's just entertaining to have them when they come around. So, Jura.
What?
Your turn. You pick a merit that you really enjoy. Yes.
So I think one of my favorite merits of, like, all time, and again, this is me being biased, and I'm biased, and I know I'm biased, and I don't care. But it's Azothic Object. That's on page 112 of Promethean the Created. And Azothic Object can go from 1 dot to 5 dot. And the prerequisite is that you're a Promethean. The effects of it are, when your Promethean bursts to life, the flare of Azoth arced outward and fused with an object nearby. And no matter where you are with this object, it's attuned to your Azoth. And you will always walk towards it. You will always go towards it. The character must create the object that has to be infused, and you can go towards it at any time that you want. Like, you can never lose its direction. Think of it as like a supernatural compass, right? One of the coolest things about this is that you get all these crazy, well, I won't say that. There are very interesting ways that you can use this in the game. And when I talk about the next really cool merit that I like, it goes hand in hand with it. You are the only one that has access to the benefits. You get a +1 die above normal equipment, above the normal equipment bonus. 9 agains for 1 dot, 8 agains for 2. Fortified, you get +2 durability in the battery, and you can store 1 pyros, and you can access it by touching it. So this thing becomes an amazing boon to your character, and it's always shit on, it's always overlooked, but it's probably one of the coolest Promethean-based merits out there. But it's my favorite, absolute favorite. I guess it would technically be a supernatural merit, Nick.
Okay.
But a lot of people sleep on it, and I have been playing. I haven't played in Promethean for about 2 years, but I had been running a game for 9 years, and 9 years of playing Promethean. Imagine that. And we've had like probably 35 players come and go in and out of it. But the coolest thing that I've ever done is sleight of handed my Azothic object onto a vampire, found their den, and wiped them all out the next day, just by having the object on them, and then tap into it to find where the object was. And I found it, and I'm like, well, it'd be a real shame if somebody had living flame in their blood right now and just kill a bunch of vampires. I was like, this is great. Fuck Malkavians. Yeah, this is a pretty good time. Anyway, your turn.
Awesome. I love that. That's really cool. So the next one I want to bring up is still in the core book. It's a supernatural merit now, and it's on page 57, and it's medium. It's the one I skipped over, but medium is one of my favorite abilities in all of Chronicles. because whenever I think of mediums, like the where I really started to get into it was after the Haunting of Hill House, and how that played, and that how the daughter who actually was in tune with ghosts affected the story incredibly just by her being there. And ever since I saw that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start putting this more and more into my characters, and it's awesome. If you ever want to like touch on the flavor of the supernatural, especially a ghost, which everyone overlooks a ghost, they're like, yeah, ghosts can't do anything. It's like, if you're a normal person, a ghost can fuck you up, and that's why I love it. But with medium, exactly as it says, you need empathy too in order to relate to them. But your character hears the words and moans of the dead. If the time it takes to parse their words, they can interact with them verbally. And it goes on to talk about, the different roles you would need to make for it. But something really, really important, especially with this merit, and we'll talk about some little ones later, is that when people take merits, you're progressing a story as much as you're progressing a character. And the thing with this one, there's a huge drawback with being a medium, is speaking with ghosts can be a blessing, but your character cannot turn the sense off any more than he can turn off their hearing. The character hears the words of the dead anytime they're present, and then once per game session, usually in a time of extreme stress, the storyteller may deliver a disturbing message to your character from the other side. So right then and there, it greatly shows you the boon and also the bust of having these certain merits. And with that, it can provide really, really interesting story dynamics that you would otherwise not normally get. But yeah, medium's one of my favorite ones. In our Hunter the Vigil play session that we have on the channel, Izzy, that was one of the main core elements I took when I built that character. Along the lines of that, certain supernatural splats have intrinsic merits allocated with them too. Just thinking about that, when I was just talking about that, there's also another merit that's tolerance for biology that Geist the Sin Eater characters get automatically. So check that when you're building characters for other game lines, is that certain merits are automatically allocated to them, and then instead of having the normal 7 dots that a normal human have, they have 10 plus whatever their merits they intrinsically get are. Something super important to bring up. But go ahead, Jura, tell me what your next one is.
So my next one is, without a doubt, small unit tactics. It's on page 54 of Chronicles of Darkness, blue book, and its requirement is presence of 3. And essentially what it does is, once per scene, when you coordinate with your allies, now it doesn't specify as PCs or NPCs, keep that in mind. When you coordinate with your allies, you can spend willpower as an instant action to confer the dice bonus to a number of allies up to the presence rating. Now, why did I say it's important to note that it was NPCs or PCs? Because something like True Friend counts as an ally. Something as, Mentor counts as an ally. So these allies, if your storyteller allow you to function as but you forgot that I XYZ'd the back door, or I have this burner cell phone. Just like little bonuses that allow you to make the most of everything you can, because if you're playing as a human or a mortal, it's not likely you're going to survive something supernatural. But small unit tactics makes it a little bit more likely. So it's just that extra little bit of what do you call it? The prestige, just a little bit of the prestige that allows your characters to kind of work together, or a true friend, or other allies that you might have in the scene. I really like that one. It's just a little bit of the sauce,
Get lost in the sauce.
Lost in the sauce. You're
awesome.
Up, queen.
Cool. So now I'm gonna switch books to one of my favorite books in the Chronicles line, Hurt Locker.
Deviant.
This book. Oh, Deviant, I still don't have, so I ignored any psychic merits that are in that book potentially, which are probably just taken off from the blue book. Let's be real. But let's with Hurt Locker. This is a book we've done a review on the channel. It's from, if you started playing with New World of Darkness, it went Armory Reloaded, And then this is the basically updated version for Chronicles of Darkness. And in this book, in addition to having the merit that I'm going to talk about, they have a whole list of other merits, especially ones that if you're looking for different styles, fighting styles, this book is the one you want. So one of my favorite merits in this book, again, I'm still along the line of ghosts. I love it. And this one just pleases me from like a core, is Camera Obscura. And it's a 3-dot merit. And the reason why it's so funny to me is that they literally just stole it from Fatal Frame. And I love Fatal Frame as a game, the entire series. But Camera Obscura doesn't mean that. it's a different way of photography technique, but literally they took it directly from that game and put it right into here. But what a Camera Obscura is, you require Unseen Sense of 2 with Ghosts or Spirit, but your character is able to capture ephemeral entities on camera, damaging them in the process. Doesn't matter whether it's through the viewfinder of a high-end digital camcorder or a grainy cell phone's front-facing camera, this ability is tied to the soul of the character rather than any particular piece of technology. By spending a point of willpower, they can focus their camera on any unmanifested entity they are aware of and perceive it through the device as if it were visible. That's Fatal Frame. So, like, that's what pleases me so much is they didn't even change the name of it. It's not nearly as bad as Lucifuge Dante or having who was it, Lil Wayne as art pieces in Hunter the Vigil First Edition, but that's ripped. But that's it just pleases me. But yeah, that's Hurt Locker. Jura, take the next one.
So this one's hard for me to admit that I like. If you've been a fan of the Botch Pit, you know that I vehemently hate Mage. You know that Mage is the kid on the playground that says, when you guys are make-believe playing, you know, superheroes, he's like, yeah, but I have this power. And anytime that people talk to me about how mages would win XYZ fight against another Splat, I can only think of Cartman from South Park in that episode where they all get like the ninja weapons, and he's like, yeah, but my powers, they have lots and lots of powers. And I'm like, oh my god, I fucking hate you. Anyway, but as much as I hate to admit it, it's on page 305 of Mage the Awakening 2nd edition. It is Deadpan, right? So Deadpan, 3-dot, ignore sources of fear or revulsion, including supernatural sources that don't play on a pre-existing condition or vice. Take a +2 to composure to resist those that do. There is so much shit in Chronicles of Darkness that relies on being able to break your composure and scare you. And this dude, this merit just lets you look at it and go, neat. And to me, that just blows my mind. I love it. It's a sleepwalker merit, but it's so good. Like when you get into that magical group of role players that like really take the shit serious and they're having fun with it, and just seeing like the big bad storyteller, and he's like, and the Archon comes before you, and he's like, your soul is forfeit, human, and you're just like, okay. Like, it's so demoralizing, and I love it. But yeah, that's another one for me. Go ahead, Nick.
All right. So what I'm pulling from now is probably, I would say, I actually would say this is probably my favorite book in all of Chronicles. Well, technically it's New World of Darkness, but it's coming in the Hunter the Vigil 2nd edition. It's World of Darkness Slasher. This is my favorite book. And what's funny about it is, I'm not sure if everyone else's does, but mine smells. Like, it smells different than all my other books. But in World of Darkness Slasher, my favorite merit is Weaponry Monomaniac. And it's a 3-dot merit on page 129. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So it requires a prerequisite in Weaponry 1 and the specialty of a specific weapon. And as we talked about last time, a specialty is like, for example, you want to use like razor blades. That would be a specialty you would have as one of the three dots. Oh, the three not dots. One of the three allocations. So the effect is some slashers take great comfort in one weapon, whether a weapon gains power from Her dead husband's straight razor or a legend possesses a fire axe that he believes speaks to him. The reliance on one specific weapon is the slasher's defining trait. When using one specific weapon, a custom glove with razors on the fingertips or a perfectly balanced sniper rifle, the slasher's roll gains the 8 again quality. Drawback, but it has a significant drawback. So what it can do is amazing. That means that you cannot just re-roll 10s, but 9s and 8s as well on it, which is insane. Like, there's an insane amount of damage associated with this. But the thing is, the drawback is the slasher cannot voluntarily get rid of their weapon. Even if the cops are after them and it's dripping with the blood of a dead cheerleader, he will always take it with him. If circumstances outside his control separate him from their weapon, he gains a derangement that remains until he is reunited with his weapon. Now, from a storytelling perspective, that is fantastic. The ability to have this, this ultimate weapon that just can annihilate whatever is in their hands. But the moment you separate that person from that weapon, they go and have to find it, or they begin to suffer more and more. That is their baby. That is their identity, essentially. As it comes down to it, it's one of my that's actually probably one of my favorite merits in the entire line, easily, because of the potential it brings with it.
Yes. that is very clearly a psychopath's favorite one. Let me think. What's another good one? Oh, here's a good one. This one's for Lenny, right? So this comes from the Hurt
Lenny.
Locker. Hurt Locker, like page 41 or 42. Air of Menace, 2 dots. Intimidation 2 prerequisite. You wear history of violence on your sleeve. You get a +2 to menace intimidation of others, and less rough characters need to spend willpower to actually pick a fight with you. It's crazy. So it's a good way of making a more physical character more adaptable in social more adaptable in social settings. A good example of it would be, you have a real silver tongue finesse charisma based character coming into a social setting, and they fail like a social outwit intimidation role, and then in comes like Lenny's character, who's always just a stick of meat that he beats people over the head with. And Air of Menace is the perfect for that. You just walk into a situation, absolutely dominate just by looking like you've been part of every street fight that's ever happened from 1990 to 2010, and you just dominate everything. People don't want to pick a fight with you. People don't want to do anything to cause physical harm to you. Unfortunately, higher end social maneuvering is very difficult, but you don't pick that merit for social maneuvering. You pick that merit to make people piss their pants, and that's, to me, that's a fun merit to have. But that's just me. I'm a little guy, small dude. So, yeah, go ahead, Nick. This is your final one, final countdown.
Oh, I have 2
5.
more. Well, I have a bonus. This is number 5, and I have a bonus one for us.
You're a dong. You're a dong, dude.
I'm sorry. So, I wanted to bring up this book, and some of the books I've been bringing up, in addition to doing Chronicles of Darkness, I also pulled up stuff from New World of Darkness, which was the precursor to current Chronicles of Darkness. And check with your storyteller to make sure they're okay with that. I'm always okay. It makes complete sense. Most of those merits made their way back into 2E in some way, but just check with them. I know that's something that I didn't really say before we began, but they're awesome. Just use them as they see fit. But this is a book I purchased specifically for its merits when I heard about them. So this is a book called Secrets of the Covenants for Vampire the Requiem. Now, personally, this book, in the way that they laid it out, doesn't really suit me all too much. However, some of the merits in this book are awesome. And my favorite one that I wanted to bring up, and this is the reason why I bought the book, was a set for Circle of the Crone, which they have set is called Brave Flowers, and one of them is called the Mandragora Garden. It's a 1 to 5 dot merit, and it's something I really enjoy because Hunter is one of my favorite games, and it's Safe Place and it's Safe House and all that good stuff. And here they also cross-referenced it into this book. But you require the Safe Place merit in a crew act of 1. But basically your character maintains a garden of Gould plants. They move and act on their own in slow, almost imperceptible fashion. As well, they act as a vector for your character's crew act.
Bro, them piranha plants.
Yeah, so like I love it because I love Little Shop of Horrors, and whenever when I was on I forget what character I was doing with this. I want to say it was like KILLMILLA, and I was looking for fun stuff to like just screw with people, and one of them was this, and I'm like, I love this so much. But what happens is that you have to actually feed it, your blood cells. It's literally like Audrey, and I don't know. Just to me, it just made me so like pleased to find this out. I bought the book because of it. I'm like, this is awesome. But your number 5, Jura.
Oh, I was having fun with that. My number 5. You know what? I really want you to do
the bonus arc.
One. Yeah.
The bonus arc. Okay.
Yeah.
So for the bonus arc, the book I want to bring up is Rites of Spring for Changeling the Lost 1E. So I love all the Changeling 1E books significantly. And one I wanted to bring out of here was, again, one of those other merits where you're cursing yourself and you don't even know you're doing it. So it's called Siren Song, which is a 3 dot merit. And it says that your character's voice has an attractive quality in the literal sense. Whenever she speaks, those within earshot are drawn to her, distracted from whatever they were previously doing. Everyone within earshot suffers a -2 penalty on all actions performed while the changeling with the merit is actually speaking. This penalty goes away as soon as she stops. While listeners may not actually move closer, their attention is pulled to her in an obvious manner. This merit does not influence them to obey her or even to like her, but they will be hard-pressed to ignore when she speaks. This can be useful for attracting a waiter's attention, distracting an enemy shooter, or having one side of an argument heard. It can, however, prove unfortunate when speaking to a cab driver en route, trying to carry on a private conversation in a crowded room, or speaking within earshot of allies while in a fight. This merit is always on and affects everyone, friend and foe alike, within earshot. The Siren Song does not carry through radio, electronic, or recorded media, however. It must be heard live and unamplified. And I love it. So your character, essentially, anytime they speak, it's terrible. And it can go awful because of it. And it's just so entertaining for me to see that. Whereas, like, this character, you would have to like build it in a certain way. If they take that, you'd have to offset it with either multilingual and doing like sign language and stuff like that, or something else, because it can be catastrophic. And not only against your enemies, like if you want to drop everyone from doing something, you would take it and apply it, but it also harms your friends too just by speaking. And I love it. But that's my that's my top 5 with the bonus arc. Go ahead, Jared.
Okay, so this to me, and forgive me, my 2 floodlights just burnt out for some reason, Nick.
You're fine.
Yeah, I know. I'm beautiful without them. I really don't need them. I appreciate that, you let me have them so that, I don't have to be too beautiful for one room. But anyway, this is probably like one of my favorite merits that a lot of people just kind of look over. So when people play Chronicles, one of the merits that I absolutely always take when I'm starting out, and I know people can be like, oh, Jerry, you can do better, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you, I do what I want. Resources. Like, people think they just breeze past resources. So disposable income proportional to your dots and merit. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. It's like I touched on last time where I said, if you don't have at least one in computer skills or research or anything like that, like you're not going to, or if you don't have one, at least one in computer skills or investigation, you're not going to be able to find the information you need to do that sort of stuff. If you don't at least have one dot in resources, you have fucking nothing. You have fuck all to do. Like, what do? Get an Uber? No, I don't have disposable income. Are you going to pay for the gas to go investigate something or go to the vampire's den? No, because it's $4 a gallon right now, and I don't have resources one to take care of it. But resources is probably my favorite. Well, actually, Azothic object is my favorite, but second favorite is resources, only because it's such a beneficial merit that people really overlook, because nobody wants to do anything related to the mundane, and this is one of those mundane things that you absolutely have to have. But since everybody's gonna no doubt say, Jura, that's garbage, you picked resources, I'm gonna say, okay, alternate identity is my little, like, you know, extra one. Nick, you're laughing, I understand why, but alternate identity is really important to me. I like that. So you've laid groundwork establishing a false identity, an informal history with 1 dot, a veneer of documentations with 2 dots, an airtight paper trail with 3 dots, +1 to subterfuge rolls to maintain the false identity, or +2 with 3 dots. This is on Chronicles of Darkness, Blue Book, Core Book, page 50. Hands down, the easiest merit to overlook, but can get you out of so much shit. You get pulled over by the police, you've done something wrong, you just witnessed a Karanos rip through an old lady because another player's an idiot, and people are like, what's your name? And you're like, Chris Dyer. Alternate identity, 3 dots, that's me. You don't look like a Chris Dyer. What does a Chris Dyer look like? Did you just assume my identity? No, here's my fake ID. Christopher Cross Dyer. Bam. Different identity. Love it. Amazing. It's amazing. There's so many, like, I know it's such a me merit, but you know, I go by many names, most of which are unspeakable. But yeah. What was it? There's one other merit that I always absolutely, it was for Mummy.
Well, while you look for it, one of the other, going along the lines of resources, is another merit that I love. It's actually in World of Darkness Innocence. I don't have the book here, but trust me, watch the guide on it. Watch the guide. In World of Darkness Innocence, there's actually a resource merit that they renamed called Deep Pockets. And what it is, yeah, that's one I love. So it's not you make the money and you have the disposable income. It's your parents do. So what you do is, like, because you're still in World of Darkness Innocence, again, to lay down the groundwork, you're a kid or you're a young adult, so you don't really have a job. Taking deep pockets is always the funniest thing, because, like, basically the character I always attribute it to is when I built a character like this, it was Steve Harrington in Stranger Things, where he's like, yep, I can do that. He just swipe his parents' credit card to whatever he has to do. And I just love it. Like, but Deep Pockets is again another, it's not a renamed one, because there is different mechanics associated with it, but that's what we were talking about at the beginning, is you need to find merits that fit the character. Like, for him, I wouldn't use resources, but for him, I'd use Deep Pockets. But yeah.
So this is very situational, very, 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 very situational. But there's it's like a 5-dot merit. It's called Grave Robber. Disturb the tombs of the arisen without waking them. Stealing an entombed relic wakes the mummy after 2 hours and taints their investigation to track the relic down. You can fuck a mummy over so bad with that merit and false identity, like, or alternate identity. Like, Grave Robber's alternate identity is such bullshit, and you can do so much with that. Like, you're basically Benny from The Mummy, but, like, worse. Somehow worse. If you've played Mummy and you've used that ability, please comment below and tell me how it went. I want to play a game, and I want to use that so bad, but people hate me as a player because I'm shallow and pedantic. I am a storyteller's worst nightmare. Made flesh. Anyway, what other ones? I feel like we owe at least one demon one. Like, we don't talk about anything about demon.
Oh, I have my book over there.
Where's Horace when you need him?
Horace is out living the good life.
Oh, now I remember what it was. So there's one from Demon. It's bullshit. I forget which book it was. It was like FOH 130. Yeah. Sympathetic Demon. It's a 2-dot merit. You have a demon friend. Once per session, you can declare the demon's convenient arrival. You suffer any damage that the demon suffers. So you're just like, oh no, I'm about to get stabbed by a corkscrew from a murderous aunt who's had too much Pinot Noir. And you're like, Lucisaurus Rex appears, my demon friend. He's just like in front of the corkscrew, and like you get stabbed. Like, it's so perfect. It's demon is second in having lots and lots of powers, only to Mage the Awakening. Like, I remember my first big interaction with a demon player was there's a player who was at the Botch Pit. Their name was Gallant. Do you remember Gallant?
Oh, yeah. I remember
it was
Gallant.
a cryptic underground.
He got mad because we dissed Princess the Hopeful and left.
Why would we diss Princess the Hopeful?
Imagine that's the hill you die on. But anyways, continue.
Anyway, I had to take like a 40-minute correspondency course to figure out like what all this stuff they could do. Because at the time I was writing the TCU, the Cryptic Underground, for like the first iteration, and I had to interact with this character that could see like the inner workings of the God Machine's machinations, and I'm like, this is a completely different fucking way of looking at it. Like, this is a completely different way of fucking looking at the game. And I think he had Potent Blood. I think he did. Yeah, Potent Blood. And like they just get like a +2 to like supernatural actions. They bleed 1 drop of blood, and it's like 1 drop of lethal damage every other day, right? And they recover something by ingesting Aether. Yeah, vampires. And then the big interaction is that in the first TCU, we had ghouls everywhere. You remember? People were taking red, and they were getting gold, so there were vampires everywhere. But the big deal is vampires who feed from you temporarily gain the effects of Unseen Sense God Machine. So when they would feed on Gallant, which that's how Callan's character died canonically, because that person left the game, so we just killed their character off. If you're just finding out about this now, Gallant, I'm sorry, not sorry. You waited 6 weeks to respond to me, so I just offed your character. Anyway, so how I ended like one entire city block of vampires was that like they all ganged up on Gallant's character, started feeding off of Gallant's character. But then they had Unseen Senses God Machine, and they went literally fucking nuts because they could see the machinations of the God Machine for like 2 days. And I was like, wow, this is a convenient way to just end vampires. Cool, you know, like vampiric suicide, whatever. Suicide is not a joke unless you're a vampire. Kill yourself. That's it. Yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. So final words on merits. As stated, we were pulling from a whole bunch of different sources today. We pulled from New World of Darkness stuff. We pulled from the Blue Book, and we started to talk about maybe other books in the line as well. And even when I make a character, like say if I make a Sin Eater from Geist, I pull from other books for it. Check with your storyteller, but in my opinion, that's the best way to build a character. In building it to the best of its ability, is to pick and choose from different lines as long as it makes sense. That's how I typically go about it. Jura, do you have any final words on that? Do you always try to stick to one core book, or do you have a framework that you work within?
What's a good and humble way to say this? I have a repository of, not a suppository, repository. Yeah, repository, not the other one. that has a bunch of merits, and it's an Excel spreadsheet that has like all of where they come from and like the pages on the books and like a short description. I'm usually pretty good with merits. Like if somebody is playing a mortal character, I typically let them have mortal related merits, like from Hurt Locker or something like that. I do have characters sometimes that want to take like Gould human powers and not have any relation to a ghoul and just explain it away that like they've been given vampiric blood somehow, like in a tainted cocktail or something. Yeah, I'm usually okay with that. That's a good way of like opening up some stuff for later. The one thing that I really despise besides mage are are the sleeper merits. I really just like, if you're not playing a mage game, there's really not a big reason to have the sleeper merits in there, for the exception of the Sleepwalker merit Deadpan. I will almost always give Deadpan free to the best voice actor or most visual face in my groups, because I love seeing people's reactions to Deadpan in real time. It fucking tickles me in ways I can't explain. Anytime I do voice acting here and there, and anytime you get somebody who's really into voice acting and they're just like, all of your family is dead. There is nothing left for you to experience but sweet suffering. And somebody has fucking Deadpan and they're just like, okay. Like, fucking, like, you just take the wind out of, like, Pinhead's sails just like, doing that. Like, I don't know. It was just like, I'm a fucking donkey's ass. But, yeah. Merits are cool if they make sense. Always talk to your storyteller about it. Storytellers are telling the story. They want to sit down and they want to play just like you. So don't make their life a living hell. It's okay to be, fun and expressive. And that one guy's going to comment on this video. Can already fucking feel it. He's going to be like, Jura, storytellers aren't gods, okay? They have to be adaptive to everything that the players want to play. Without the players, there's no storyteller. Yeah, okay, so why is there a shortage on storytellers? Why does everyone want to play the game, but nobody wants to tell a story? I'll tell you why. Because of people like you ding-dong. All right? We're both telling stories here. Let's work together. Let's be friends. My foes. I have more resources. I have like 10 dots in that. Anyway.
10 dots and resources.
10 dots and resources.
The Sleepwalker merit that you've been talking about, it jolted my mind on the supernatural resistance merit that you can take. It's amazing.
Yeah.
If you double up on both of them, it's just like, the strongest ability in any game is just to tell someone no. Yeah.
Dude, okay, so like anytime I think of that, anytime I see that happen or think of that happening, I think of that one episode of One Punch Man. It's like the last episode with like season 1 where Boros is all like unleashes his powers and like the lights are going everywhere and like shit's blowing away, and like Saitama just has that deadpan face and he's like Boris is like, I'm gonna destroy you and all this world's gonna pay for it, and Saitama's just like, okay. And I'm like, God damn it, that's so good. Like imagine that. Like third generation vampire elders just staring at a dude and he's like, your breath smells like dirt. I don't know, it just tickles me the right way. No. Anyway. That's all I got for merits tonight, guys. Look at my Cthulhu shirt.
Yeah, I have Toby.
Joji Ito. You brought up a really good point. Okay. And it's that this building better worlds can be done on other game lines.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what game line we should think about doing with
what?
This?
What do you think?
Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu, probably. I think I
Building better worlds. Every
Building
world.
better worlds.
100 worlds. 100 years.
All right. Well, that's
awesome.
We're gonna pick this up a little bit more. Like, comment, subscribe, follow the Botch Pit, off-rush your firstborn child, pets if you have them. There's a PO box in the bottom. Send me snacks. What else?
Join our Discord.
Join our Discord. And then send me snacks.
Come talk with like-minded people.
Yes, do that.
All right, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Have a good night.